Benetton, 35 points to 8 winners over the Bulls. I'm not sure how many people saw that coming. I would say pretty few. 35-8 is a proper victory. Benetton, before this game, were getting a bit of stick from people as to the fact that they qualified for the final based on that cancelled game against Ospreys, but they have closed down all of their doubters with a big win. The Bulls undoubtedly pretty disappointed about that one. They didn't seem to really crack into their top gear, which we know they're capable of. Obviously, they're missing some of their Springboks. They had to travel. But, yeah, it was a bit lackluster from the Bulls. Uncharacteristic. Bad day at the office. I've had a little bit of a read on social media and people reacting to this one. Saying it's a bit of a wake-up call for the South Africans. I still think it's early days. It's one game. I still think... if you start writing off South African teams based on this, then that's probably a bit crazy. But for this game, we just need to give credit to Benetton for a phenomenal performance. Go through some of the key events, some of the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on the game itself. I've only just watched it delayed. Obviously went to the Super Rugby Trans-Tasman final last night. It's weird that these two competitions, both kind of one-off competitions, and unusual winners. The Blues getting their first win in 18 years. Benetton getting their first bit of silverware. So, kind of crazy timing. But I got up first thing, watched this game after I woke up. And it was a little bit error-ridden early. Big noise from the crowd, I should say. Small crowd. They only allowed 1,500 people, I think. But, man, they were loud. You felt like the crowd was a lot louder than that. Great to have that kind of atmosphere at the ground, and I'm sure those people who were able to get tickets will remember this one for a long time. But both sides kind of had a few errors early. It seemed pretty steaming hot, and the ball was probably a bit greasy. Hayward kicked it out on the full at one point. The Bulls line-out was going a bit astray. But it didn't take long for the Benetton boys to get on the board. Monte Ioane got the first try of the game out on the left wing. Hayward actually put in the kind of quick pass as Madosh Tambwe kind of bit in. Hayward's hands got it out to Ioane, so he was able to go over for the try. Missed conversion from Garbisi, but it's 5 points to 0. Garbisi did have a big old line break on 13 minutes, and he was dangerous. Garbisi is such a live wire, very, very dangerous player. And from a kick return, Garbisi's able to get a big old line break. Unfortunately for him, he passes the ball to Marcel Coetzee, who's not on his team. So the Bulls kind of got themselves out of dodge at that point. Garbisi missed a long penalty a few minutes later. And eventually, he does win a game of force back against Smith. Does Garbisi as Smith knocks it on inside his own 22. Eventually, that means Benetton's able to capitalise with a penalty. So on about 20 minutes... It was Nokia that conceded a penalty at the breakdown. On 20 minutes, it's 8 points to 0. But essentially, it's been all Benetton. And I'm thinking, they're only 8 points ahead. For all this dominance they've had, you know the Bulls are going to kind of wake up soon. And sure enough, they did. The Bulls started to get some real chances down Benetton's end. Marcel Coetzee uncharacteristically knocked one on. I think the pass was kind of directed towards his head, but he couldn't handle it. But they were down Benetton's end. They were starting to turn the screws. Janssen van Vuren went close in the corner, but Garbisi again, how many times are you going to mention his name in this one? A try-saving tackle from him. Interestingly, when Benetton went from the exit play, because they had the line out 5 meters out, interestingly, none of the Bulls guys were closing down the kicker for Benetton. They just had all the time in the world to make the clearance kick. Usually, you got guys running up, closing him down. I don't know if the guys were tired or what was the deal, but usually you would see a bit more energy. Either way, though, the Bulls did finally convert some of those kind of early opportunities which were missed into a proper one with Tambwe getting a try. Weird one from him because it was a maul that went really close, and from a resulting ruck, Tambwe just grabbed it and piled over through Duvanaka. Not really a traditional Madosh Tambwe try. When you think of him scoring a try, you think blistering pace down the wing steps, but just from the base of a ruck diving over, more like a loose forward. To be fair, Benetton did really well to stop the Bulls' maul, which was looking powerful, but they essentially had no defenders left. They missed the conversion, so it's 8 points to 5. And then from the restart, Benetton kick it out on the full. Bulls get a scrum on halfway. That scrum wins a penalty, and then they opt for the penalty, which they kick, and all of a sudden it's 8 points apiece. Benetton's early lead has just evaporated, and you're thinking, here we go. You've blown it, Benetton. You've failed to convert more on your chances, and then as soon as you've given the Bulls a sniff, they've just scored 8 points. But that's the sum total of the Bulls' points. The rest of them would all be Benetton's. To kind of arrest that momentum, the next Benetton kickoff was perfection from Garbisi. I'd like to see him try and get it that accurate again. He kicks it towards the corner of the Bulls. It goes over Marcel Coetzee, maybe in slightly wrong position. And it doesn't go dead. It just goes out pretty much on the 5 meter line. And the Bulls double down on their own errors. They muck up the line out, and then Funsail in his own in-goal area cannot handle the ball. And Els from Benetton pounces on it to score a try. I mean, Funsail's hands just float upwards as he's trying to grab the ball, but he misses it. But it was a tap back from the line out. It was just, not the best, but good pressure from Benetton. Gets them another 5 points. They missed the conversion, which was a very kickable one. Tumbwe, speaking of that energy that was lacking a bit earlier, he really put pressure on Garbisi for the kick to make it 13 points to 8. Els looked to have another try right before half-time after a maul, but he had about 5 Bulls defenders around him trying to stop him from getting the ball down. I wrote, as soon as I saw it, he's lost that. There's no way he's grounded that, even though the ref gave it as an on-field try. My just first viewing, obviously it's probably easier from the comfort of your own couch, was that he'd lost it. They took an age to look at it, the officials. They finally deduced that, yes, he has indeed lost it, which I would have thought doesn't take that long to decide. But they looked back for a high tackle from Jacobs on Els in the build-up. He's around his neck, and they ruled that if he doesn't make that tackle, which is illegal, then Els goes over for the try. So it becomes a penalty try, which is kind of actually worse because you get the double down of having a yellow card. And the fact that the goal kicking's been a little bit astray, they get the conversion already automatically put on top. So it's a bit of a brutal one for the Bulls right before halftime, 20 points to 8 with a man down for the next 10 minutes of the second half. The halftime possession stats, it's like 65-35 to Benetton. They've been all over the Bulls in that first half. Honestly, they did really well to arrest the momentum, which the Bulls seem to have swung back their own way. Second half, you get a try through Lamaro on 42 minutes. That one, it was Garbisi's perfect cross kick again to Ioane. It was just pinpoint accurate, and his kicking can be a bit hit and miss, but it was, as we've seen with him, failing to do the restart properly earlier. But when he hits, man, he hits perfectly. Ioane passes to Lamaro, he goes over, and the conversion goes over too. It's 27 points to 8. That's 7 points during the yellow card. Hendricks get penalised for a barge on Ratuva, who's come on for Padavani temporarily anyway. They kick that penalty to make it 30 points to 8. 10 points during the yellow card, which is a pretty good return for Benetton. Padavani gets back on, and eventually he's the next guy to get a try. On 57 minutes, Benetton switch direction as they're attacking in the Bulls' end. Garbisi gets it to Padavani, and he goes into the space. They miss the conversion, but it's 35 points. That's the final scoring. So you get the final 20 minutes, essentially no scoring. The Bulls, as they're kind of chasing the game, they don't generate a lot of kind of clear-cut chances. They just were like stuck in second or third gear. This Bulls team is a lot better than that, but you do have to give credit to Benetton for kind of keeping them under control. There's a captain's challenge on 68 minutes for a tackle, but it's a nothing in it tackle, and it's a total waste of time. I'm still not a fan of the captain's challenges. Hopefully we can be rid of them. The Bulls did go close on 74 minutes, but the ref called a knock on. A minute later, Tumbwe gets another try, but they call that one back for a forward pass, so there's no luck going the Bulls' way either. It would have been too little too late anyway, but yeah, 35 points to 8. Benetton, people who criticised them, have now seen them lift the trophy. Congratulations to them and their fans. Hard luck for the Bulls, man. Benetton had 3 weeks rest, is what they said in the build-up. Obviously with the Ospreys game cancelled, and the Bulls had a game last week and then had to travel, so it was never going to be ideal conditions for them. But I think, and with their Springboks out, but I still think we didn't see the best of what this team is capable of. They are better than that, but just every team's quite capable of an off day. But that being said, don't take anything away from Benetton. They were on fire, barring a bit of a purple patch where they made a few kind of back-to-back errors and then let the Bulls convert. Benetton were just generally very good this whole game. Stats, run meters 381 to 402, so pretty tight with the Bulls edging that. Defenders beaten 17 to 26. Likewise, the Bulls get the better of that one. Clean breaks 3 to 4. The Bulls edge that. But you look at turnovers conceded 21 to 14. So the Bulls horrendously higher. Turnovers 1, Benetton wins 8 to 5, because turnovers conceded can be all kinds of ways you concede the ball, not just getting pilfered, but actual pilfers is 8 to 5 with Benetton having that. Benetton's line out is 100%, the Bulls are at 76. So yeah, just uncharacteristically a bit off from the Bulls guys, and good execution from Benetton. Penalties conceded ends up 8 apiece, so it's actually pretty tight in terms of getting on the wrong or right side of the ref. Individuals, Hayward beats 4 defenders in his final game for the team. Garbisi has 43 run meters. Ioane has 60 run meters and beats 2 defenders. Hendricks actually has 10 from 10 tackles, but does concede a couple of penalties. So, yeah, you could see what it meant to the team, man, when they celebrated that victory pretty heartily, did the Benetton guys. As I said, congratulations to them. They get a bit of silverware. Hopefully that's good news for Italian rugby. I am wearing an Italian jersey. I do not have a Benetton jersey. I just looked up how much a Benetton jersey costs and how much it is to get it here to New Zealand. And oh boy, I ain't going to be getting a Benetton jersey anytime soon. But I'll keep an eye out for a second-hand one on eBay at some point, because I'll have to be watching more of the United Rugby Championship when it gets cracking at the second half of this year. I look forward to that. And hopefully Benetton can crack on from here, and likewise Italian rugby. But anyway, that's the game. As I said, congratulations to Benetton. Great from the crowd, very vocal, entertaining. It didn't have the tension of a close final, but yeah, it was certainly a good watch. Commiserations to Bulls fans. You guys have had a fair few trophies recently, so I'm sure you won't be too distraught about this one. Obviously, you would have liked it to be a bit closer. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How did you think Benetton went? Can you see them going forward and continuing some form into future competitions? Does this bode well for Italian rugby, or is it just kind of one game? You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.